What's up everyone? My name is Mikey Bell with Outdoor Adventure Training. Today's workout is a very simple but very effective body weight routine that's going to improve activation and stabilization in the hip joints as well as through our spine by activating our core and gluteal muscles, posterior chain. We're going to be really emphasizing this slow tempo, really improving joint stabilization and mobility as well. I'm coming off of a big 40-mile day just a couple days ago, so I'm using this as a recalibration routine. So sometimes after those big days, some faulty movement patterns come about. This workout is designed to help correct some of those. Even if you're not coming off a big day on the trail, that's okay. This workout can still be super beneficial to just build some general stabilization and muscular activation in your body. So general format of the workout will be a short dynamic warm-up just to get things moving. We'll do a circuit of 5 exercises 3 times and we'll end with a quick static stretch. So let's dive right into it. The first dynamic warm-up exercise we'll be doing is walking lunges. So make sure you have a little bit of room. And I'm just gonna do 2 lunges there and back several times. So all I'm doing is stepping forward with one leg and I'm coming up on the back toes, and my goal is to drop my knee down towards the floor. My goal is to make somewhat of a 90-degree angle with both legs before I press off the front leg to come back to center and stepping forward with the other leg, repeating the process and dropping down. So we're just warming up, getting the legs warmed up, warming up the hip joint a little bit. You can do a little bouncing at the bottom range. You can even stay up high and just work on pressing your hips forward, even rocking the shoulders back slightly. We're looking for a deep stretch from the knee all the way up through the core, deep in the hip flexors. We'll do a couple more rounds of this, reaching forward, dropping the knee down. And my goal is to really press off the heel of the front leg to get those glutes working. And you're gonna get pretty familiar with me saying that by the end of this workout. Legs should start warming up, heart's warming up a little bit. We're gonna do one more round here. Dropping the knee down, chest up nice and tall, pushing off that front leg. Okay, our next dynamic stretch is leg swings. I really love to use a wooden dowel like I have right here to help stabilize. You can also just keep your hand on a wall. But all we're doing is swinging the leg through the range of motion. So I'm not bending the knee or bending the ankle. It's just the hip joint that's moving. So I'm really trying to swing this leg forward and back. I'm getting a stretch in the hamstrings on the way up and the hip flexor on the way back. And you could really do this for as long as feels good. What we don't want to do is move our upper body a lot with this. We're trying to stay nice and stable, which is why I have the dowel. Really just trying to isolate this hip joint. Definitely using the core to keep my posture in good alignment. Just swinging, lubricating that joint, getting those muscles warmed up. Okay, switching to the other side, left leg now. Get that movement going. Ooh, definitely a little tighter on this side after that run. Keeping the core engaged, really trying to swing back. Feeling the stretch in the hamstring on the way up and the hip flexors on the way back. Okay, our last dynamic stretch here is called Inchworm. It's one of my favorites. So all we're doing is reaching down towards the floor like a forward fold. If you can't touch the ground, go ahead and bend the knees until you can. But wherever you are, you're gonna walk your hands forward into a plank position. Once you're in your plank, if you want, you could throw a push-up in, but you don't need to. And then we're rocking the weight back like we're getting into a downward dog, but we're just taking small steps on the toes, keeping the knees locked. We're walking in as far as you can. Your hamstring and back flexibility is gonna be the limiting factor here before you walk your hands back out to a plank and repeat the process. So I'm really trying to inch my toes in, small steps. It's not about how far you step, but rather how good of activation we can get through the core and a really good stretch through the whole posterior chain. Do that one more time going back. Hands down to the floor. Walking them out nice and slow to a plank position. And again, I'm rocking back. Small little steps on the toes. Really trying to get my hips up high. I like thinking about getting my hips over my head, which obviously they're not. Walking back out to a plank. Last rep here. Okay, nice. So that's just a general warm-up. If you have any other dynamic stretches that you love to do, go ahead and hit them. But we're gonna dive right into the circuit now. So the first one is glute bridges. So go ahead and lay on your back. And we're gonna bring our feet and our heels in close to our glutes. So pretty close to our hips, and our feet are about hip or shoulder width distance apart, but we really don't wanna be any wider than that. So all we're doing is pressing through the heels to engage our glutes and press our hips up high. And now we're just gonna hang out here for a few seconds and really think about squeezing the gluteal muscles to press the hips up as high as you can. And we're trying to create a straight line from our shoulders through our hips all the way to the knees, getting really good glute engagement before we come back down. Okay, so repeating the glute bridge, we're pushing through the heels, and more specifically, think about getting on the outside edge of the foot. So we're working to externally rotate the knees. We're squeezing the glutes hard. We're gonna hold this for 2 or 3 seconds up top before coming back down. That's 2 reps. We're gonna do 8 to 12 here. So go ahead and squeeze the glutes, press, hold. Think about externally rotating the knees. Back down. Don't forget to breathe. Press and hold. Back down. All right, we're gonna do 3 more reps here. And on these last 3, not only are we squeezing the glutes, but think about engaging your core muscles as well. So as I'm pressing up, I'm countering that pressure by drawing my belly button in towards my spine, creating a lot of tension through the core. Coming back down, 2 more reps, glutes and core. A lot of engagement. It might not look like a lot, but you're gonna feel it. Back down. 1 more time, pressing through the heels. Let's do a 5-second hold here. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, so we're gonna minimize our rest in between exercises. If you need to grab a drink of water, that's totally okay. But once you're ready, we're gonna be getting into a low plank. So I'm facing the mat here, and to measure, I like to bring my fingertips to my elbows and then come out to center to create this nice triangle here. So fingertips to the elbows to center, and I'm just getting up on my toes. I got my timer going here. We're going for 1 minute. That's the goal anyway. We're gonna emphasize 2 techniques here. One is bracing and another is the drawing in maneuver. So bracing, we're really thinking about squeezing the glutes, squeezing the abdominals, and the lower back, the erector spinae muscles. And this is gonna help create a lot of tension and improve activation. The drawing in maneuver is thinking about lifting your navel towards your spine, and this helps activate a lot of those intrinsic core stabilizing muscles that are deep inside of our body. So we're really trying to get maximal engagement. I'm up on my toes, I'm pretty straight from my shoulders through the hips, knees, and ankles. We're at 45 seconds already. Hang in there. Keep breathing. I'm pressing away from the floor. I'm not letting my upper body sag. Core's engaged. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Nice job on the plank. Okay, I'm just gonna flip around here for demonstration purposes, but we're working on what's called a prone Cobra. This is a really great way to activate our upper back muscles, help improve our posture, as well as really the whole posterior chain. You're probably gonna feel it in your glutes too. So just laying prone on the floor. My feet are flat on the floor as well. And all I'm doing here is thinking about contracting through the upper back as I lift my chest, sternum, shoulders, elbows, and hands off the ground. Good contraction through the upper back before I relax and come back down to the floor. So really contracting, depressing, and retracting the shoulder blades. I'm really trying to get good lift, holding for a couple seconds, back to the floor. This is really similar to the glute bridge in the sense that we're engaging, we're holding, we're correcting, feeling really good engagement. You can even think about pressing your hips into the floor to get that glute engagement before coming back down. Just keep working reps here, really try to lift. We're not lifting with the neck. We don't want to stress our cervical spine. That's staying neutral with the rest of our spine. All of the activation is coming from the upper back and the entire posterior chain. Squeeze and lift. Relax. We're going to do 5 more here. Final 2 reps. Really get good engagement here. Last one. Squeeze the upper back. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the floor. Okay. Last exercise here is leg lifts. These can be pretty tough, but we're going to do what we can here. So just starting off laying on your back. And there's a lot of ways we can modify this. We're gonna start with the standard way and then we can improvise as necessary. So the main thing here is I'm thinking about that drawing in and bracing maneuver still. So I'm contracting the abdominals, the glutes, and the lower back. And I'm thinking about pressing my lower back and my sacrum into the floor. So there's no cavity that I can slide my hand under. I'm pressing down and all I'm doing, feet together, is lifting the legs up to a 90 or as close as you can get. Again, your hamstring flexibility might play a role here. Then we're slowly lowering down towards the floor. Now the key here is we don't want to just disengage and relax. And you're not going to like that. This is the hardest part of the exercise. But rather than just dropping, we're coming down, pressing the lower back into the floor as low as you can get it, even right to the floor before coming back to center. Now, if you're getting down there and you're like, oh, my back is hurting or I can't come back up with any power, then just don't go as far. We might only need to go to right here to get really good engagement before coming back to center. You should feel this deep in the core. Keep pressing that lower back into the floor, coming back up. Nice and slow on the way down, back to center. Now, if you're finding these are just way too difficult, we can cheat a little bit or give ourselves some assistance by putting our hands under our glutes, and that'll lift our hips up and decrease the resistance. So coming down just above the floor, coming back to center. But I'm gonna remove the hands because I love the challenge. We're gonna do 3 more clean reps here. All the way down, back to center. 1. 2. Last one here. Get a good hover at the end. We're gonna finish the rep by coming all the way back down to the floor and relax. Okay. Nice job, everyone. We're gonna go through that same circuit 2 more times. Go ahead and grab a drink of water if you need it. I got my water bottle handy. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Really important in the workout. Hopefully you're feeling some good activation in the core, the glutes, and really the whole posterior chain. Okay, we're gonna get right back to it. So on the floor, starting with our glute bridges, we are going to modify them just a bit on this set here. So we're going to come into our standard glute bridge position, pushing through the heels, lifting the hips, squeezing the glutes. But instead of doing continuous reps up and down, we're going to stay in this position and we are going to work one leg at a time. And we're going to do that by transferring the weight to the left side first, really squeezing the glute, and then we're slowly going to extend one leg, keeping that left glute really engaged. My goal is to keep my thigh and my knees parallel with each other before bringing that knee back, that foot back down, transferring the weight, squeezing the right glute this time, and extending the other leg, holding for just a couple seconds. This is going to require you to use your core a little bit more. The tendency is for your hips to buckle and drop. Really overemphasize keeping that glute engaged, especially on the transition. The tendency is for the hips to sway when we switch sides. Don't let that happen. Keep it engaged. Extend, hold, back down. Squeeze and extend, hold, really work to press those hips up. You can do it. Back to center. Nice job. Keep those glutes engaged, hips up high. Again, if this starts to get too difficult, just go back to the original version and that's fine. Just want to provide the challenge for those who want it. Slowly switching legs. If you're noticing, all of these exercises are about neuromuscular efficiency and control. How well can you stabilize your body in these movements? Hopefully you're feeling really awesome engagement through the glutes and the core at the same time. We're going to do one more each side here. So keeping the left glute super strong, extending the right leg, hold it, press them up, back down, squeeze that right glute, extend the left leg, hold it, back to center. Nice set. Okay, getting right back into our plank position. Take a minute to stretch it out. If you want, sometimes I like to do a set of cat and cow. Inhaling, lifting the head and chest, arching the back, pressing away from the floor. Good way to release the low back if you have any tension in there before we get into our plank. So last set we did a low plank. This set we're doing a high plank. So all I'm doing is getting my hands flat on the mat and I'm really working to open up my fingers wide. It's called splaying, and I'm trying to push through the fingers and knuckles, tucking the toes under before I lift up into my high plank. We're gonna go for a minute here. Got the timer rolling. Shoulders are over the hands. I'm not so far over my hands, but I'm definitely not pushing away. My hips are staying tucked. Glutes, core, thinking about drawing the belly button in, embracing everything through the core and the glutes. Good engagement here. Focus on breathing. Again, we don't want to collapse through the upper back, pushing away from the floor. Cervical spine is neutral. Just keep breathing and keep digging. We're about halfway through. I love planks. They're fantastic. Keep breathing, keep pushing away. We got 10 seconds left, folks. Hang in there. Keep breathing, keep pushing. Squeeze the core. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Oh, take a second. Maybe a little child's pose. Stretch out those shoulders. That's where I was feeling it the most on that set, which is interesting. I wasn't running with my shoulders the other day. Okay, so we're gonna work another Cobra-like exercise, but we're gonna work on Supermans instead. And we're gonna do alternating opposite Superman. So laying on your stomach, and we're gonna raise both hands up overhead, and our thumbs are pointed up towards the ceiling. My feet are flat on the ground, and very similar to the Cobra, but we're not lifting our whole upper body off the ground. I'm gonna go right arm and left leg up, I'm lifting my chest off the floor a little bit before disengaging and coming back to center. And I'm alternating left arm and right leg up and coming back down to start. So you should definitely feel really good glute activation in the leg, upper back, shoulder activation on the arm before coming back down. Switching sides. This is a really awesome dynamic core stabilization exercise, working really the entire body here. Nice and slow, breathing. Still getting a little bit of a hold up top. Really good glute engagement. Relax. We're going to do 2 more each side. Hang in there. Keep breathing. Keep working. One more each. Lift and contract. Squeeze that glute. Squeeze the upper back. Relax. Last rep here. Nice work. Alternating Superman. Okay. You already know it's coming. The dreaded leg lifts. Laying on the back. Remember, it's super important. We're decreasing this window in our low back. Press it into the mat. And really, even just by doing that and tilting the pelvis and barely lifting the heels off the ground, you should feel a lot of engagement through your core. If you're not, hit me up. You got to sign up for some training sessions with me for sure. Okay, so to start off, we're pressing that lower back into the floor. We're lifting the feet up off the ground. We're going for 10 slow, clean reps. Coming back down. And up, that's 1. The slower, the better. If you can go slower than me, please do. I'm working hard here. I am still sore from that run. Nice and slow on the way down. Heels are hovering. Pressing the low back in, back up. That's 5. We're halfway. Keep working hard here. Keep those legs straight. Press that low back in. Lift with the abs. My range of motion is decreasing. I can feel it. 2 more. Hang in there. Keep breathing. Last one. Slow on the way down. Hold it just above the floor. Back to center. Nice work. Good job. Okay, that was our second round. We got 1 more round to do. Get another drink of water. Stretch it out. Take some good breaths. Feels good. Okay, final set of glute bridges here. Whenever you're ready. We're gonna get right into it. Okay, laying on the mat. We're gonna keep mixing it up here. Keep increasing the challenge. So rather than single leg alternating, we're gonna do just strictly single leg glute bridges. I think these are one of the most difficult variation of glute bridges known to man. So all we're doing is just working continuous reps on one leg. I'm gonna do 5, switch the other side, do 5, and then come back and do 5 more each leg. So 10 total each side. We're not gonna be holding up top as long. If you wanna do all 10 on one leg, that's fine. I'm still sore, I'm recalibrating. My goal isn't to be too intense here. So we're just extending one leg up, it's staying in line with the other thigh. I'm pressing through that heel, trying to extend the hip as much as I can on one leg, good core engagement. Coming back down, that's 1. I'm gonna squeeze and push through the heel, lift, hold for as long as you can. 2. Push through the heel, back up. 3, 2 more on this side before we switch. Last one here, push and work through it. Nice job, switching sides. Okay, getting set up, right leg's extended, pushing through the heel. Back down slow. Nice, that's 1. 2. Core engaged, don't let that hip drop. Keep the abdominals engaged. 3, 2 more, push. Last one here, let's get a little hold up top, press. Nice. Okay, if you got the desire to do it, physically you can. You just got to push through it. We're doing 5 more each side. Here we go. Right leg, push. 1. Press and hold. Core's engaged. Glutes engaged. 2. 3 more. Here we go. I'm feeling a decreased range of motion. Last rep here. Press through that heel. Lift, hold. Nice work. Switching sides. 5 more reps on the left side. Here we go. Pressing up. Hold. Release. That's 2. 3. 2 more. Finish strong. Last one here. We're going to get a little hold up top. Here we go. Push, hold. Nice work. Good job. We're done with glute bridges. Okay, we're going to get back into our low plank this time. Remember, measuring with the fingertips to the elbows. We're going to tweak this, make it a little harder, of course. We're going to just get into our low plank position, getting that alignment, getting up on my toes. Got the timer going. We're going to work on body saw here. So just very subtle movement through the ankles and the toes. I'm pressing forward over my arms before pushing back as far as I can. So this is just adding a little bit of dynamic stabilization as I'm rocking back and forth. You're gonna feel this light up the core. Don't forget to keep the glutes engaged. And of course, breathe. I wasn't breathing for a second there. Deep breaths. If this gets too difficult, of course, just hold the regular plank. Drop to the knees if necessary, but I encourage you strongly to challenge yourself. Keep rocking, 20 seconds. Keep those hips down. Core is engaged, 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, relax. Nice work. Oh, that should feel pretty good to come out of that. All right, we're getting back into our Superman. This time we'll be doing a full Superman pose. So we'll be lifting our upper body and our lower body off the ground simultaneously. So go ahead, lay on your stomach. Arms extended overhead, feet flat on the ground. So on the inhale, we're gonna lift everything. And we're squeezing the glutes, the upper back, releasing back down. Try to hold that top position for a second or two if you can. Squeezing, lifting, the whole posterior chain is engaged. Relax. Make sure your feet aren't coming out too wide on this. Really try to keep everything linear as we lift. We got 7 more to do here. Keep working, keep breathing. Lift. Squeeze those glutes, press the hips into the floor. Try to get just a little bit more range of motion each time. Here we go. 3 left. Working hard here. Final 2. Let's go. Last rep. Make it count. Hold up top. Okay, nice work. Okay, that should feel really good to come out of that. We're finishing up our last set here of leg lifts. These are gonna make you work for it. Okay, laying on the back. Feet are flat on the ground or under the hips if that's what you need. We're doing 10 more clean reps. Press that lower back into the floor. Feet together, lifting the legs up. Here we go. Nice and slow on the way down. That's 1. 2, don't get sloppy here. We're on our final set of the workout. Take it slow. Make it meaningful. Just above the floor. Keep working. I'm working hard here. 3 more. Really push it. Let's go. Press that low back into the floor. Nice and slow on the hover. Last one. Make it count. Slow on the way down. Finish it off. Nice work. Good job. 3 rounds. Woo! Okay, you should be feeling really warmed up. Hopefully you got a little sweat going. I certainly do. Your core is engaged. Your glutes are nice and engaged now. Your lower back is also probably working. Fantastic. Excellent work. We're going to close with just a short static stretch sequence, and we're going to start in a low lunge. So you can just stay right on your mat. All I'm doing is reaching my right leg back. My left finger or my left foot is on the floor and my fingers are barely reaching the ground. If you can't reach, use a foam roller or blocks, some sort of prop to raise your hands up. But ideally, we're just sinking down here the best we can. If this is absolutely not working for you, and another variation that some people prefer is to just come up and hold here. And that certainly works as well. I'm gonna stay down here though. I really want this to be restorative and relaxing. I'm really just thinking about melting the hips forward, pressing them towards the floor. Focus back on your breath, relax. This is the cool down. Really important to do some static stretching after your workout. Helps release some of that tension we've just created. Nice deep breaths. Okay, next we're gonna just transition into a half splits pose. So you could just rock your weight back onto that back leg, let the toes come off the mat, and we're simply just hanging out here. We should get a really deep stretch through the posterior chain, the calves, the hamstrings, even into the low back. It's important we don't round completely through the back. Just kind of want to hinge forward a little bit. And it will also deepen the stretch if you keep those toes lifted up towards you. Just holding here for about a minute or so. Really try to relax and breathe. Feel that posterior chain that we spent a lot of time working, open up. Okay, the final pose we're gonna switch to here before we transition to the other side is Pigeon Pose. So just rock back forward into your lunge, and we're gonna toe heel and walk our foot over across the mat, and we're gonna drop our knee down towards the floor. This is working the glutes, the external rotators of the hip, and the goal here is to just sink down and let our hips come down to the floor. Now you might just need to stay right here, and if your shin isn't totally parallel, it's okay if it comes back. That's where you are right now with your flexibility, but ideally we're parallel, our hips are square, and you can either stay up high, you can also walk the hands forward, you can bring them onto the back of your hands, you can even extend them out and really collapse and relax into this pose. I am a little bit tight today, so I'm gonna stay up high just to get the most benefit from this stretch. This should feel really good after all those glute bridges to just open up those external rotators, get a nice deep stretch through the hip joint. Okay, so coming out of this, I usually just rock my hips back and to come out of that stretch, because that one is fairly intense, and we're just gonna do all that same sequence on the other side, starting with that low lunge. It might feel good to just do a couple hip circles. Sometimes your hip will pop, but we're gonna step forward with the right leg now into our low lunge. Get comfortable here, find your position, whether it's down here, propped up on blocks, or if you prefer to hold the pose up high. Either way is acceptable. The goal is that we're stretching out the hip flexor, in this case on the left side. It's really important when we're doing these static stretches to breathe and relax into the pose as much as we can. Static stretching has been known to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest system that really helps us to relax and let go of tension. So don't overlook these static stretches. They're super beneficial. Yin yoga is one of my favorite ways to improve flexibility for those reasons, and I encourage you to experiment with some of that as well. Okay, transitioning into our half splits now. I'm just rocking the weight back, keeping the heel on the mat, sinking the hips back, and lifting my toes up towards me. Really nice stretch through the posterior chain. I know my hamstrings are a little tight, and my calves are too. Just really try to breathe into this. Again, relaxing into the pose the best you can. Sometimes I'll even do some ankle rolls or a little front to back motion, but ideally we're really just holding the pose and feeling that stretch through the hammies. Okay, transitioning into our final stretch here, Pigeon Pose, back into our low lunge, toe heeling across to the other side of our mat and trying to drop this knee down towards the floor. And I learned on the other side that I'm not ready to go that deep today just yet. I'm gonna stay up nice and high here, working on pushing my left hip forward and keeping my right hip grounded on the floor as well. Really awesome way to open up those external rotators. Just keep breathing, keep relaxing. This is one of the more intense stretches in my mind. Really gets deep into the hips. Okay, we'll slowly rock out of this. Okay, nice work on that workout. Hopefully you're feeling good. Got a nice little 30-minute or so workout in, got the core engaged, got the glutes engaged. I really appreciate you joining me in this workout today. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video. It goes a long way for me in outdoor adventure training. Again, thank you so much for participating, and we hope to see you in the future in more of these workouts.